I guess what I'm really keen to hear about is how did you guys all meet? Like, what's the story behind? Because I've checked out your discography and stuff like that, and you've released a track in like, well, an album in 2016, I think. So like, what's the
Yeah.
story of Lazy Ghost?
Yeah. So the story of Lazy Ghost started. I went for a working holiday in Canada in like 20, I think 15. Yeah, around then. And never been in a band before. Always played a bit of guitar, never really sang. Bought my first guitar, ended up being in this band with the a Canadian lineup. We started recording songs in a shitty little shed. And one day the drummer turned to me and was just like, "You want to go like record this in like a proper studio in Vancouver?" It's like, yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, we're in a band now. And we're going to be playing shows, and we're going to be. I was like, shit. All right, okay. So we kind of just played the circuit in Whistler in British Columbia in Canada for a few years, gaining a bit of an audience over there. And then through COVID and stuff, some shit went down. So moved back home and reformed the band in 2021. And the band itself now, the current lineup is Sam, the drummer, one of my mates from high school. Archer, the bass player, is one of my brother's friends, and Chris is an American fellow that just I found him on the internet on Facebook, like Byron Musicians page. So actually, like I reformed the band in, like quarantine in like we flew into
Yeah,
Sydney. My partner and I flew into Sydney from Canada during COVID, got locked down for 14 days. And I was like, shit, no, it's no time better than the present to like reform the band. So I was just like on the phone, and like by the end of the day, I just had this band, and that's who Lazy Ghost is now.
dude.
And since then, like we've played a stage at Splendor in the Grass. We've toured New Zealand, sold out a few shows there. Um, and yeah, toured Australia a couple of times, supported people like Daily J, supporting Dice soon. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just like sold out our EP release boat party in Brisbane. So yeah,
yeah,
it's looking pretty good for us at the moment. We're stoked.
dude. What a story. From Canada back
Yeah,
to
it's
Australia
pretty.
in quarantine. Shivers. That's
Yeah, it's
sick, man.
pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Where did the love of music come from? Like, has it
Um,
been
I
in
think
your blood?
yeah, I think my dad making fun of himself, like making a fool of himself at like family dinners and like different barbecues when we were younger. Like I was always just like, nah, like never me, like I'm never doing that. Like that's crazy. He's such a character, and I don't know. I think I just like was at a point in my life, and I was like, I just kind of want to do something that's just not working. Give it a shot for a bit. You may as well try. And that was it really. And I just kind of really like performing and putting on a show and just meeting a bunch of people. It's great.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, serotonin, firstly, fantastic title. I love it. Um, it's quite a beautiful EP. Where did kind of the heart behind the EP come from? Because it's more like a soundscape. You take us on a really awesome journey. So I guess tell me a bit of the story behind the EP.
Yeah, I think the heart of the EP is just kind of all of the experiences we've had together as a band, as the current form lineup. Like, whether that's like from locations to, you know, people we've met along the way to a bunch of inspiration of songs that we've liked. And I don't know, just kind of like instead of doing the regular thing in some songs, just kind of doing like a quick 180 and, putting in like if you've heard like the song Weekend from our EP,
Yeah, yeah,
like it just has that like triplet feel, like that
yeah, yeah,
instrumental part. So we really
yeah.
just like, we come up with like the just like the structure of the song, and then like, all right, how can we make this 180, or how can we make the lyrics just about absolutely dumb shit, or just to keep it interesting that way, because otherwise it's a bit boring, we
Yeah,
find
no,
anyway.
I love it. You bring such a beautiful kind of juxtaposition of serious things, but then you've got that Australian humor, but then you back it up with just like the music makes sense. And
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah,
shows like a displacement that all comes together. I love it, bro. Like, very
that's
good
great.
job. It's a
Thank you
fantastic
very much.
EP. And do you write to perform, or do you just love writing? Like, like what's that writing process for you guys? Like, run me through that. Like, yeah,
I think now we're leaning into more performance. Like we performed the EP on our boat party in Brisbane just
yeah,
like the weekend just gone a few days ago. And I think it really came through what we were trying to achieve with like getting the audience involved. And like it had its peaks and its valleys. And I think now, and yeah, we definitely started writing like that, like to perform, like how
Yeah,
it's performed. It really went off. Like there's sing along moments, there's heavier moments, there's instrumental moments. Yeah, it's really good, and I think we'll follow the same procedure from now on.
dude, I love it. So do you guys all live in Byron?
Chris and I live in Byron. Archer lives in little town called Yamba,
Oh,
and
yeah,
Sam
not
lives
too
up in
far.
Wollongbar. So within like an hour and a half of each other.
Yeah, sick, sick. I love it. How
Yeah.
does that writing work? Like, run me through. Do you guys use a studio or in your own house, or what's that vibe first?
No, it's just like usually just like shitty little garages or dark little spaces. Sometimes we drag like the computer and stuff out in the back in our place in Byron, and just have a few beers, and that's kind of how we wrote Park Hotels. I drag my computer outside, drink 7 beers, and come up with the song about the pub we were just drinking at.
Dude,
Um, but I mean, it starts from a few different things. Like I had a few different demos. Like I think Weekend was one of the demos that I had a while, for probably 2 years.
yeah,
Just like the melodies and the like the hooks.
yeah,
Um, as for the instruments, like I think Each Were Live was Chris just played some chords on a guitar, and then I took it and chopped it up and then started singing over it. Um, what else? Only Man in Town. I think the boys were sitting on our driveway, and I was like manning the station on the computer. And I was like, Archer, play something, do something, do something. And he was on the bass and he came up with that do 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 do. And then we kind of wrapped everything around that and turned it into like a spaghetti western song to kick off the EP, which is pretty funny.
I love it.
Um, yeah, so a few different ways.
Yeah, no, it definitely has like a new nostalgic sound. Like it sounds old, but it's new, and it just brings that
Yeah,
energy. You can definitely feel
yeah,
the pub in that track. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. What would be like the dream place to perform? Like, what's that like? I've made it moment for you.
Oh, I mean, I don't think there's like an I've made it moment. I think it's more like a place that you dream to perform would
Yeah,
be, I think is it Red Rocks, that crazy venue in America. And it's like a Red Rock, it's like an amphitheater, and it's like just there's red rocks everywhere. That place.
dude, I love that. I love
I
that,
should
man.
probably learn
No,
the
that's
name.
sick.
I haven't
Wait,
given it too much thought.
like the national park?
Yeah, I think
Is it
so.
like
I don't know.
outside? Dude, I love that.
Yeah, do you know the place I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like the national park with all of the big, yeah. Did Coldplay do it? I think Coldplay might have done an
I think
album
every
there.
big band has played that crazy
Yeah,
amphitheater.
dude,
Yeah.
that's it. I
I'd
love
Google
that,
it, but
man.
I'm using my phone right now.
Yeah, no, that's all good. That's all good. I love that, man. And I guess with the Australian music scene at the moment, we've had a couple of festivals cancelled recently.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on the Australian music scene and festivals and performing? Like, where are you guys at with that?
I think it'll get better. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's definitely unfortunate these festivals are canceling and stuff, and it does look grim at the moment. But I think a lot of startups and a lot of like starting from the ground up is going to happen, and there's going to be a bit of an absence for a little bit, but I think it'll come back pretty strong at a smaller level.
Yeah, no, I'd back
Yeah,
that. I think with bands like you guys that are just putting in the hard yards and making incredible music, um,
yeah. Just making things
I
interesting for
back that.
people, I think, is a very needed thing,
Yeah,
because you can go watch every band, and a lot of bands don't follow the like simple like $15 tickets or $20 tickets. Like you can see a lower level band for 20 like $22 sometimes, and then you can see a higher level band for $15. So it's hard to like monitor what the value for money is in some places. Some venues have higher venue fees for some people, for some performers. So it's difficult.
yeah, man. No, it's a tricky market to kind of gauge. Hey, yeah, I guess what
Yeah.
would be some bands that inspire you, or just artists, people?
Um, no one. No one really. I do love the surf punk stuff. Like I used to love a lot of Skeggs, and I love Hockey Dad's new stuff. But I don't think they really inspire anything. We kind of just take it as it comes when we're standing in a garage looking at each other, saying what next. But as for sounds, like, you know, we have this like producer that we've worked with once before for Told You So, this our single Told You So.
Yeah,
And really liked to take us on a bit of a journey with like, Weekend. He made it really sound like Rolling Stones, like old school
Mm,
psych,
yeah,
like rock and roll. And I really like that. So we're very open to that. We're very like malleable in that sense. And I think that kind of leaves us open to do whatever. Because if you
yeah,
listen to our discography, it's full of full of good stuff, full of weird shit, full of bad stuff, like there's kind of everything there for everyone.
yeah. No, I love it. I love it. It's definitely very random, but a very beautiful random. Of like you guys are just you, authentic, raw, and I think it's
Yeah.
very Australian and very beautiful. And I think it shows a lot of what we're seeing in the pubs, but I think just still a bit of a higher production level, which is kind of sick.
Right. Yeah.
Did you play a lot of pubs when you got back and COVID started opening up?
I
Like
think
what
we
was
like
kind of the
embarked on a first Australian tour and like it did pretty well. I think we had to cancel one show in Byron, or we had to push it at the Northern. But other than that, yeah, we embarked on a tour of Australia like as our first thing, and it went really well. So there was a lot of like influx of ticket sales like when people got let out eventually.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was like our first shows back. Yeah, so
Oh,
not quite pubs. We are playing like some pretty good venues, like 300 cap, 3 to 600 cap.
oh,
Yeah,
sick. Yeah,
yeah,
no. I love that, man. Yeah,
yeah, man.
I love it. Heck yeah. Well, I think that's kind of all the questions I have written down.
Yeah.
You're a legend, dude. I'm so proud of you guys, and you're doing some awesome stuff for Australian and the Australian music scene. And I think there's a
Thanks,
lot of
mate.
guys out there that are pretty inspired. I threw your name out to a bunch of mates that kind of make music like you, and they were stoked that you
Oh,
guys are
nice.
doing this. So yeah, there's a
Great.
lot of young
Thanks, man.
Aussie musicians that are super inspired by you. I guess another
Nice.
question, just off the bat, with
Yeah.
marketing and kind of like the social media aspect of
Mm.
music now,
Yeah.
and just creating for the sake of numbers. Where are you guys at with that? Because I think from talking to a lot of other Australian artists, we hate it and we don't really like that process. Where are you guys at? Some people you might love it. Who knows?
We definitely don't like the idea of it, and we definitely don't like scheduling time to do it. But I think as we do it more, like if you've seen any of our reels on Instagram, like I'm wearing like swimmer goggles and a swimming cap that's a child's that I bought from Vinnie's,
Yeah,
and people just seem to like taking the piss. So I think taking the piss out of it is probably our approach.
yeah,
Um, I don't really like trying to be too funny with like skits. I don't really get around skits. Um, but I think just promoting the music, if that's all we have to do, unfortunately, like, everyone wants to live the dream of being a musician, a paid musician that can tour the world and stuff. So unfortunately, everyone, if that's what we need to do, we'll have to schedule an hour a month to make some content.
nah, I love that, bro. That's such a lovely perspective to have. I've heard some very negative comments. That's a very nice perspective to have on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I guess
yeah,
just authenticity will always shine here. No.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sick, man.
Do you play
Well,
in a
thank
band?
you so much. Pardon?
Do you play in a band? I see a grand piano behind you.
Yeah, there's a piano there. I dabble. I like to play. I'm not in a band or anything, but I just love
Oh, nice,
music, man. Yeah, the family's
nice.
very musical. Um,
Great.
yeah, it's such
That's
a
awesome. Well, thanks for
beautiful.
having me on. This has been
Yeah,
great.
man. Thanks for coming and thanks for taking time out of your day.
No
Enjoy
worries.
Melbourne, and I might
Thanks, mate.
see you at a gig sometime. Hey,
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it, mate.
incredible. Have a good one, bro. Ciao, ciao.
You too, dude. Cheers.